What is going on, everybody? And Tony is the gamer here with Mikkel Smith, 2/3 of the Press Start Select podcast. SSS Rank could not join us tonight, but we'll be holding it down in his stead. Tim, it's crazy because we always talk about summer being slow for gaming. Sometimes in the group chat, we'll have our conversations about like, where do you want to take the topics next, for these next pods. And it's just like for the past 2 weeks, the news has just been falling from the heavens of just, wow, we got to talk about this. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know, I'm talking about the announcement that PlayStation made a couple of hours ago, actually, about Concord. Now, Concord, for those who don't know, was a hero shooter that was a Sony exclusive. It had been getting fairly good reviews about the beta, but nothing that helped it stand out from the shooter pack, right? So good mechanics, good character design, but nothing that was like, wow, I got to go cop this. So Sony decided to truck forward, drop the game at a $40 price point, and we've seen since that release, that launch window, of record low Steam numbers. I don't think Sony's even released the PlayStation numbers. And not even 2 weeks after launching, we get an article from PlayStation saying that Concord will be going offline at the end of this week. So Tim, I ask you, in this era where as PlayStation fans, we've been asking them for shooters. We've been asking them for shooters for years at this point. We get a shooter, the shooter flops, and they're pulling the shooter. What are your thoughts on everything? I mean, I've never seen this before, from what I can remember.
It kind of goes back to, there was a comment that you made. I think we were talking about like Spyro and Crash Bandicoot of people have always been heavy requests of stuff, but then, when it's out, where's the support? Mm-hmm. So I do feel like it's a two-way street. I do feel like, the designs were cool. I did like the fact that, Sony and one of the new studios that they purchased, or I would say acquired, is, pushing out something new. Mm-hmm. It's just like, and then, it's one of those type of shooters where it just builds over time. But then I do realize, yes, you need something substantial to keep people involved. But then I also did feel like it did need some more time. I think it needed some more time.
Really? After 8 years of development?
No, in terms of investment, I would say more beta access.
Oh, okay. Like time for the public to
get familiar with it, because yes, especially shooters of this particular style, there's still a large fan base, in terms of Overwatch, even. And, this is where I feel like the issue really truly lies, is when Valorant became on the consoles. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I saw that announcement, I was like,
what shooters?
Because I just know it was just going to impact. Because, you got to think about it, man. Yes, the system is selling units, but it's just but where's the attention span of all of these people who are buying it? Mm-hmm. Yes, the system is selling, but who's to say that the fan base for this particular title is there? And I think it needed more time, man. It needed more time. We see a prime example of that, look at Multiverse. Mm-hmm. Multiverse, it had its issues, yes, but then at least it was able to use that time to really say, hey, we want you to invest in this, and this is why. And I just kind of feel like, they was driving. They were on good faith, yes, mm-hmm. but it just needed more time.
I mean,
it's sad to say that it's cut. I mean, I hope the studio doesn't get penalized for that, because I would hate for that to happen. Mm-hmm. Because, I do feel like, Sony was very strategic with the studios that they purchased. Especially when you really look up their history, I was like, these are good people. They're able to make a quality product. But I just hope the money side doesn't really hurt the lives of these people,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those situations where I think it puts them between a rock and a hard place. Of, on one hand, again, you're getting critique from your fan base of why is everything a third person action adventure game? Why is it always this adventure that we have to go on with these characters? Why is it always this? Where's our first person this? Where's our kid friendly this? And then it's like I was saying in the group chat, it's you have these concepts where, game development is taking longer. So it's taking longer to cook. But by the time they get around to putting it out, nobody cares, right? Or the idea just wasn't good, right? Where I could kind of get behind the concept of Concord more than I could Foam Stars. But Foam Stars was for the kids and still flopped, right? So if I'm Sony, I'm just like, what do you guys want? You tell me you want third person action adventure shooters. I give it to you. You don't buy it. You want kid games. Like I will say, like I will be pretty upset if Astrobot drops on Friday and nobody buys it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, this is the thing y'all ask for. You've been saying since the PS5 came out, oh, Astrobot was such a fun surprise. It's the Little Big Planet successor we never thought we wanted. It's like, well, now you're getting a full-fledged game with all the Sony mascot characters being represented in it. I hope y'all buy it. I hope y'all buy it, because if not, you're gonna continue to get Spider-Man 3, 4, 4.5, Miles Morales 2, The Last of Us prequel. Like you're gonna get these games because you're not showing up at the store to actually buy these things that you're telling this company that you want. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I look at the industry as a whole, where like, for as stilted as the release window has been for 2024 releases, bro, we've been seeing back-to-back flops of games for a couple of months now, where I'm like, I don't know how we got to this point of like, it's either sink or swim out the gate. Either you're Black Myth Wukong or your Suicide Squad. There's no like in between, right? There's no like, oh, it's still a respectable number, but nothing crazy. It's like either you went gangbusters when you sold, or it's like you're RIP, like Concord. I'm like, again, like I was racking my brain. Like I don't think I've ever seen this before, of like a game being shut down within 2 weeks, a AAA game at that being shut down in 2 weeks.
I wouldn't even consider this AAA.
Really?
I wouldn't consider that, because I have been sitting and seeing, like, yes, bro, we're starting to see things in new or different categories. Like, yes, it's from a flagship like PlayStation, but that it doesn't mean that it's in that category.
Okay. But what would the signifying things have been for you to be like, you know what, I think this is, they put in like their oomph behind it, so like a AAA status?
The marketing definitely would have been there. Like I said, the ads were there, I would say, but then it was still that same cinematic trailer that we saw at at one of the events. But I just kind of felt like the game developer diaries, that's what seals the deal for me.
Okay.
I enjoy those. I like to see like the faces of the people who make this game, their thoughts about it, the mechanics about it. Even like I also like when I saw like how many maps were available, I was like, bro, that's it? That's
Okay.
it? Like, you mean to tell me a game was in development this long and that's how many maps you're releasing? And that was my first red flag right there. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, bro, this is very kind of a bit bare bones, bro. And you got to understand is that because it's not just Valorant that you were competing with; it's the next flagship game on the Marvel rivals, bro. It's like you're competing with two brands that already have, like, they're already established due to the names behind them. Yes, yes, PlayStation is another powerhouse, but then this is still a new IP, so it's still fresh to people, and
Yeah.
that investment needs to be there.
But you think the investment needs to be there from like the studio or from the fan base? Like, where do you feel
Both.
like?
Both.
Okay.
But I do feel like, it's about it, but it starts with the developer, because it's like, because first of all, I would only know about this game by what you put out.
Fair.
I would only know about this by what you put out. And I just kind of feel like, maybe the marketing wasn't really there, or maybe I did feel like some aspects of the gameplay wasn't really up to par. It still felt very fresh, like very, very vanilla based.
Yeah.
And I
Maybe
do
not
feel,
generic, but didn't stand out for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then yeah, the character designs were great. I liked them.
Me too.
I enjoyed
Me
them
too.
because it's very, yes, like, we do see the similarities, towards a particular group, of course. But then I did like to feel like they said they were going to expand on these characters. So like you're getting to know them within this shooting realm. And I was just really interested to see how does that work.
Yeah. And
But
we may never know at this point.
it's tough. It's tough, bro. But yeah,
Yeah.
but games like Suicide Squad, they deserve that.
Well, yeah, for sure. It's just, again, like it kind of, it's a bit of a head scratcher of like, are we as an audience, are we kind of moving away from original IPs? Right. That's kind of like my underlying thought of like, is it something where we're not as invested in like, what's this new game, new character, and new world?
Half and half. I do feel like some people are slaves to nostalgia.
Okay.
Like, like there is a form of bait that is thrown out there, which kind of draws you in, of course. And then it's also like it's taking a chance. It's like an investment. Like, why do I want to spend my money? Like, and I keep saying I've been going back to this point a lot in our conversations. It's the money factor, bro. Games are expensive now, bro. And then you throw in DLC on top of that. It's like, bro, how much of my money do I want to give this product? This
No,
$20, I could get something to eat
no, bro.
or
That's
gas,
fair.
and I do feel like a lot of the humanity aspects of what's going on in our world around us is impacting the gaming industry. It really is.
I think that's a good point. I think we are starting to really feel the effects of I'm trying to think of the term of like overindulgent entertainment, right? Where it's like on a the economy was better if people's finances were better. Maybe you'll pick up that you have two games that you're going to buy for sure, and that possible of like maybe this game can win me over. I got a couple extra dollars, I'll pick it up. Versus now, like you're saying, it's like even the two games I want, I might just get one and have to wait for a deep sale so I can pick up the other one. Like it's getting to that point of I think gamers, unless you just have a lot of disposable income, you have to be extremely savvy. The ratings of a game matter more than anything. Like the opening, it's almost like a movie. Like the opening weekend of a game, like dictates so much of like, can I, in my mind, make peace with spending $70 plus tax on this game that already has a season pass announced before it comes out. So I already know in my mind, if I really want to experience the game, it's going to cost me $100+ in this economy, or I can't even get fast food for less than $10. So like, it's true. It's true. I do think the rising cost of things are making gamers a lot more IP averse than they usually would be. But to move into another game that is an established IP that seems to be just, I don't know, crashing and burning, right? Is that safe to say? Like, is it safe to say that in 2024, the Star Wars brand has never been in a weaker spot? Right? Like, I think we had like a close brush in the 2000s when people weren't as crazy about the prequels. But for the most part, people were still into Star Wars stuff because then you were getting the Cartoon Network Clone Wars, which was amazing. A lot of these like animated shows are really good. But now it's like outside of what was it, Andor, everything Star Wars related seems to kind of just be collapsing. And, Star Wars Outlaws seems to be another victim of mediocrity.
It's Disney's fault, bro.
You think so?
It's Disney-fied Star Wars, bro. Because and I'll go there about this. I keep telling people the last best Star Wars movie was Rogue One.
Yeah. You
Like
didn't like
you
what's
could
it called?
you could tell like after that movie,
Mm-hmm.
things just shifted. Every
Mm-hmm.
like the tone just shifted of things. Like like I said, man, it's Disney-fied Star Wars, man. It's like the entertainment aspects of like Disney and the properties that they have acquired. I feel like personally it's taken over too much, and it's impacted the Star Wars license. Like for example, let's go back into EA's run,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Battlefront. A cult classic. People were so
They were in
happy that
love,
this was
bro.
backed,
Mm-hmm.
and the first one was basically a tech demo.
Yeah. Like
And
$60 tech demo of that.
yeah, and they centered it around the movie and all that other stuff, and then that flopped, and then the second one was better, but then it still had its issue. I was like, bro,
The
like
microtransactions, bro.
Geonosis, bro.
Yeah,
The
those loot
planet that
boxes.
started the Clone Wars is DLC. I was like, bruh.
The loot boxes and microtransactions were disgusting for that game.
And it took so long for that game to just be revived. I mean, people are still playing it now to this day
Mm-hmm.
because it's the only thing that they got.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, it's significantly better. Like it's a lot better than it was where it started.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so the biggest hit was Fallen Order. Fallen Order was good.
Hmm.
Jedi Survivor.
Solid.
It was still
Solid.
solid.
Yeah.
It had its issues, but then now here comes the Ubisoft formula of gaming in terms of their games. Like, they have some good points. There, the graphics for this game is very beautiful. I did
Hmm.
like the world immersion, but it's just the gameplay was just very mediocre.
Yeah.
And you see it, you could just see it in the trailers, bro.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
see it.
The whole like big heaping of just like this is okay, right? Like not horrible. You've seen worse, but I'm like this is okay. I've seen better stealth. I've seen better stuff from Ubisoft. Like that's the crazy part. Like I've seen you guys do stealth better than this. So you're not meeting your own standard. Then it's like from what I mean, I haven't played the game, but from like the reviews I've seen, the clips I've watched, is like you don't have that open freedom that you would in Far Cry, right? You're kind of restricted in a lot of parts of the game, especially the story parts. Whereas at Far Cry, you had a lot more freedom to explore. So I'm like, you didn't follow up that part. And then it's like in your combat mechanics, like yeah, it's a shooter, but like that's all she has as a character. So there's not much else she could do. So then it just kind of becomes like, okay, if all I can do is pick up random guns, what about this makes her memorable?
And then hack a few things. And it's like, yeah, you're a smuggler, but I did feel like, being a smuggler should really come with a lot more trades. Like, especially
Mm-hmm.
the time period that you chose is like, well, because I did like the fact of like, showing different parts of people. How did they fare under the Empire? How
Yes.
do they navigate space? Like, yeah, bro, you might have a haul, but if these Imperials just say, hey, what do you got there?
Yep. Lift
What
the
are you
tarp
going to
up.
do?
Mm-hmm.
Are you literally going to become a galactic fugitive and light speed away, or are you just going to risk might being killed and thrown in
Mm-hmm.
jail?
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't really there. It really was not there. I was not a fan of the whole alien sidekick type of thing.
Hey, come on.
I was not I
Tim.
was
The corporates from the boardroom were like, well, you seen the Mandalorian. It worked with Grogu.
well, first of all, that is a Jedi, and that is not a kid. That is not a kid. Because remember, they say aliens age differently. Because technically,
Yeah.
he's older than him.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But it's like no, like I get the whole furry creature thing, but then like I
Mm,
said, there's too many aspects of the Disney Star Wars coming into these games,
yeah.
and that's what I, as a person, as a Star Wars fan, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want
Mm-hmm.
that. But I get it. You want something to relate to the new market because I am seeing that in terms of like the things that we grew up on, we're kind of like fading out. Like yes, they're still using us as that nostalgia hook
For
because
sure.
we're the ones who are going to introduce this to our children, niece, nephews, all those
Mm-hmm.
other things. But you do start to kind of feel like they're pushing us out.
Yeah, and I mean it's that's fair, right? I mean, if you think about how long Star Wars has been around, it's like at some point we gotta go, right? Like they don't have to cater to us anymore. And I think a lot of the things to your point that like we thought were cool at that time because they were aren't as interested to the new generation of like for us seeing the droids, right? Of like, man, look at what these droids can do. That's so cool. Like we're in like the technical boom of like, man, they're talking to a hologram. What? Like that era is over. So now we're in like the cute mascot era of this. But it's like kind of like at what cost? Because like to your point, it's like, well, who's buying this game? It's not your nephew. It would be you, right? Or like someone within your age range or a little bit younger. So it's like you don't have to hit me with the like, she's a cute but scruffy protagonist who's morally ambiguous and has a
And you know what's so funny? And I guess this is like Ubisoft from EA thing. You do realize, remember in the second Star Wars Battlefront game, there was an original story with an
mm,
ex-Imperial character. Remember, she had
mm,
a robot droid sidekick. I was like, okay, so let me guess. She sends out the droid to hack this machine to, scramble the enemy. Oh, what does this little furry creature do? Oh, attack.
yep.
Oh, get
Distract.
this item.
Hack.
I
Yeah.
was like, really?
Yeah. Before we talk about the controversy with the early access, do you think that this game would have benefited from trying to be like Grand Theft Auto in space? Like, what do you think would have like helped this game like catch more eyes and more attention?
When you say Grand Theft Auto in space, I understand what you meant because there was a Star Wars Underworld game that was supposed to be released many years ago that got cut, and many people have been still starving for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would love to see that because, like, bro, like we've seen hints of it. Like we've seen hints of it in the Clone Wars, we've seen hints of it in Rebels, and even some of the live actions, like the Star Wars Underworld, is very, very interesting
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just you who trying to make a dollar. Like you got to deal with bounty hunters. You
Right.
got to deal like the fact that, bro, you find out that there's different sets of mafia
Mm-hmm.
in space. The
Mm-hmm.
Huts, the Pikes. It's like, bro, one small step, wait, you are dead.
Yeah.
You are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like when I was looking back at something like that, like I was like, oh, Han, old Jabba money. Like you never really understood like the magnitude of that. It's like, yo, this man owes the Huts money,
Yeah.
and he just disappeared to join some rebellion because he loved the girl,
Mm-hmm.
and it caught up with him. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, Jabba, I was supposed to pay you back. It's like, but bro, like you just disappeared,
Right. I had
and
to come
it's
find you. You didn't come looking for me. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's there's a lot of interesting concepts, man, that I just kind of feel like the Star Wars because like let's be real, like the good versus evil story is starting to get very tired,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that's where I feel the underworld could actually thrive because to be honest, bro, you don't got to throw morality at us. You don't.
Yeah.
We just want to see what's about to go down.
Yeah, and I think the games are a good way to explore them, right? Because the games are always considered to be quote unquote not canon or very loosely in the canon, right? So it's like even with Cal Kestis, if he ends up being a gray Jedi, it's like okay, that's fine.
Okay.
We still have Luke being a goody two shoes somewhere off in space, right? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't corrupt what we know about the Jedi at their core. If we see this one character embrace the dark side in the third game, like it's like you said, like it shows us like what's real, like what's really happening within this world, where it's not just like the forces of light and the forces of darkness clash and you're either the most wholehearted person in the universe or you're like the filth of the universe. It's like, well, where's that line, like let's not forget, like the Jedi mind tricks isn't exactly noble, right? If I'm like, you will give me this passageway, you will give me the most expensive thing in your shops, like that ain't, you know it being for the cause doesn't make it good. Like you're still stealing. you know but yeah, I don't know. I think Disney's gonna have to kind of give it the Deadpool and Wolverine treatment at this point. What I mean by that is like, go for a game that's M for mature for Star Wars. Just do it. Just really go in, really show. Like, I'm not saying M for mature, like people don't gotta get decapitated or anything like that. But just go for, like you said, like go embrace this established lore of like, here's this mafia aspect, here's this seedy underworld. Hey, you might even run across a couple of Jedi who fell off the bandwagon and now they're mercenaries, right? Or they're Jedi's for hire, or whatever the case may be, that allows you to like flesh out this universe in a way that sparks interest of like, man, that's a really interesting concept. I would love to know where that goes with good mechanics, of course. Right? That's always the underlying thing of like, even though apparently the story picks up, it's like the combat's still mid.
Because to be honest, a good game that really explored the underworld was in the PS2 era, Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I
Mm,
remember Django Fett. He came across another Mandalorian who was also a mercenary for hire. The mercenary was hunting down this guy, and he caught him. And the guy was scared because the dude was about to kill him. He's
mm,
like, I'm worth more alive." He's like, "You're worth enough dead." And I was like, "Bro, that is very scary."
mm.
It's like, and that's why I said, like, bro, there's so much you can explore. Like, there's so much you can explore, man. And
Yeah.
it's just very sad that we've just come to this place of like mediocrity where it's just like, here, oh yeah, buy this Ultimate Edition and have a good day.
Right. And don't forget to get the season pass, because that's when we really go into the Hut story. It's like, what? Excuse me?
You're waiting to the DLC to go in. Okay, okay.
Right. But speaking of Ultimate Editions and early access, for those who don't know, Ubisoft kind of got into some hot water last week because they released a patch that fixed a lot of game-breaking bugs within Star Wars Outlaws. However, it came at the cost, unfortunately, of most people's save files. Now, we know that, granted, the game was still early on in its release window, right? So most people probably didn't get more than 4 or 5 hours into the game. But Tim, you said it better than most. You have the content creators who are going to binge this all night on Twitch and make sure that everybody sees the game and their commentary as it's happening, as they're experiencing it for the first time. And you have people who's like, yeah, you might have done 3-4 hours. I did 12. I did 16. I was in the end game. I'm 20 hours deep at all the things unlocked. And Ubisoft offered an apology. They gave you a trinket in the game and some Ubisoft points. Now, Tim, let me ask you, if you spent $100 on a game to play it 3 days early before everybody else, you're playing it, you're seeing it through, you're in for the story, and a mandatory patch drops, and they tell you, hey, my man, you got to start from scratch. No carryovers, no extra skill points, not even like throwing in, I don't know, the DLC pass for free. You got to start from scratch. Here's a trinket. Your response is what?
Personally, this is why my personal decision is to wait. Like, I'm that 2 to 3 month person. Wait it out. Like, give me 6 to 8 patches first before I get, especially like an open world game, bro. And I've learned from Ubisoft already, bro. From the Far Cry days, I wait. But if I was a person that took the chance, bro, I would be upset, man. I literally would be so upset because especially as a person like the people who do Twitch and all that stuff, like this is their livelihood, bro.
Yeah.
They say like, hey, I'm gonna do a walkthrough, because some people do giveaways, some people do, just all type of things, man, and you just disrupt the ecosystem that is supposed to be to your benefit of getting this game out, because part of the promotion is what we do. I mean, just like we spoke about, like rest in peace, Game Informer is like it's because we are the new reviewers,
right?
We're just doing our job by reviewing your product. And what we say is going to determine your future sales. Now, I do realize, like, I think we need to really just start to invest more into like demos and betas again.
Yes,
I do feel
clearly.
like we need to get back to that age of that, to really put it in the players' hands and see what kinks happen, because it comes from people's play styles.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we've gotten away from that product. We just want to drop 2 trailers and ship it out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the era that we've kind of like migrated to, and I don't like it, to be honest, because I kind of feel like it's such a disconnect. It's like you just see, the intro trailer, and then there's the launch trailer.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, that's it?
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, depending on the game, I mean, it's a mix. But I don't think there's a scenario in which you shouldn't release a demo of some sort or a beta of some sort. But like, I look at, for example, like that's kind of how they got me with Final Fantasy 16, right? They dropped the demo, and I was like, well, sword combat. I remember I told you guys, like, the sword combat seems a little shallow, admittedly, but I'm like, everything else was like really, really dope. Like, I'm sure it's going to open up in the final product, right? And that's how they got me. But to your point, it's like I at least got to have it in my hands to come to that conclusion of like, yes, I want to buy this game. Versus what you're saying, it's like there was no demo. I'm only watching the elite of the elite creators get to do the previews and the hands-on. There's no feedback loop for these developers, and now the game is out, and you overlook a game crashing bug that then affects your consumer base. And it's just like, what is that? Because to me, I'm just like, this is how we lost the appeal of the pre-order bonus. This is how we're going to start to lose the appeal of the early start access. Because like you said, it's like, if I'm investing, if I'm paying $100, I need a refund. Like, I don't want to hear about a trinket, Ubisoft points. I need my money back. I need a season pass for the free for my troubles. Like, you're not about to sit there and be like, our sincerest apologies. We didn't expect this to happen. No. This is a symbiotic relationship at this point, to your point. You need me to review your game. You need me to chip in this money so you can pull it into resources to fund future things for this game. I need to be treated. Give me my, if we're talking airline terms, give me my 60,000 miles for delaying my flight, for canceling my flight, for inconveniencing me as a customer when I could have gone to another airline, and we'll talk. I'll make peace with it. Give me my voucher for something, and we'll talk. To me, I'm like, I feel like more people should be upset about this.
Yes.
To me, I'm just like, I don't understand the whole, like, people are mad, whatever. I'm like, no, like, y'all should be. Where's the viral video? Yeah, a viral video of somebody at Best Buy flipping over a counter somewhere, like, no, Ubisoft cheated me. Like, where's the picket fences, like the pickets around like Ubisoft headquarters of like, I don't know, like outlaw outlet something, like just some catchy chant of like, just do right by us. I just but.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true, man. And like I said, we're just seeing more and more of that now these days. We really are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very unfortunate. And like I said, because I remember I was I was very hyped for pre-order bonuses, but then I just lost all care for that. I was like, no, I will wait 3 months.
Yeah.
I will wait 3 months. Because most of the time, especially, as the digital space has like grown, bro, that pre-order bonus, like I could just now buy it for like, it's available to me now.
Right. And in most cases, it's like it wasn't, once given enough time when the hype dies down, it wasn't worth it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can play as Goro now. And guess what? I still don't pick him in MKX. Like, all of that for nothing. The only person now I'm like, you know what? They were kind of cooking when they released what's his name? Darkseid for Injustice 2. He was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like, dang. I kind of want to play as him. It was worth it. But, I think generally speaking, I think you're right. Like, that's what kind of killed it. Like, I don't know what I'm getting. This game is expensive. You want me to pay even more for early access, and it still might be mid? Nah, I'm good. So we'll see. I hate to see Star Wars be in such a dire state. Like, I hate to see that.
Dire state is a very, yeah, because I was like, bro, like even with Fallen Order when they did the 1 year anniversary updates for like challenge rooms, I was like, okay, more costumes. I was like, you know what, this is very good, and it was for free. For Jedi Survivor, yearly anniversary comes out. I was like, oh, sound of crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing. Oh yeah, we're releasing a PS4 port. I was like,
yeah, that's why we couldn't do anything with the anniversary. Or we're too busy working on a previous gen version of the games. Like, what? Who asked for this?
Bro, I am just appalled. Like, who really asked for this? Because, like, especially like a game where it still had glitches on the higher system. What do you think is going to happen to this?
Yeah. Even as the last patches that they released for the game, it still had glitches. So I'm like, what? We about to see the Nintendo Switch version of Jedi Survivor on the PS4, bro. It's about to be bad. They gonna learn. But speaking of ports, another great transition. Speaking of ports, we did get confirmation that you provided in the group chat today that it is finally confirmed. Xbox, I know players, y'all have been going through hell and high water, but you guys have some good news coming. Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, as well as Capcom Fighting Collection 2, will be coming to the Xbox in 2025. Now, Capcom has officially cited was it like port issues or like software issues or some. There's some like politically correct technical answer that they gave as to why it wasn't coming day one, trying to like kind of squash the rumors that maybe Sony might have paid under the table for a timed exclusive. Nintendo might have paid a little bit more for a timed exclusive. Tim, what do you think? What do you think about Xbox being the last up to get their hands on?
I think I think on a larger scale, as we've been seeing lately, there's something going on with Xbox and Microsoft.
Mm.
that a lot of these people, they just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, and to be honest, bro, like, I've been saying this for years. I think it was bound to happen. Because when you really look at it, like, Sony, PlayStation, Nintendo, and their products, they are the titans of the East and the West. They've
Hmm.
been that way for years. And then you have this one person just come out from the West, just comes in and just gets thrown into the ecosystem. And yes, it has a good stand, a good foundation, and there were some good things that they introduced over their time. But I still starting to feel like, that is becoming part of too much in the mix. I do feel like there is something on a corporate scale going on with them that, of course, people in the industry know about it, that they just don't want to deal with them until a certain agreement comes.
But what do you think that could be, though? Right? Because, like, to me, I'm like, I don't, like you said, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, right? We can only speculate. But I would say, in terms of like a forward facing gaming company, we haven't really seen Xbox do anything, at least in recent memory, that would say, like, this is going to cause some friction with the Japanese.
Well, remember the clip from Maximilian that we watched about when he was going into deep dive about some of the ports, and remember it was the gameplay aspects of them, like the control schemes and things of that nature.
Mm,
Remember, most of this stuff, like I said, it was built for who?
for PlayStation. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where and then, I guess maybe, people who do the coding and programming, maybe they have more knowledge about those type of things, but
Mm,
you never may know. That probably was an issue. Now, yes, there were some of those games that were on like the early years of the Xbox. So
yeah.
and that's where I kind of feel like, well, maybe that's not true across the board. But then when you look at the full scale, like, yes, they are mixing and matching because this was over here, that was over there.
Mm,
But then, this one was but then, some it's kind it was crazy because, like, no, but then this was re-released in this collection for PS3 and Xbox.
yeah.
But then it's like, so that's why I say, bro, if there's something going on a corporate scale, and we probably would never know.
Like a silent blackballing almost of like, hey, we're trying to
Yeah.
get Xbox up out of here, y'all. Like, like hinder them, hinder them, hinder them, hinder them. Like,
Honestly, and that's probably what it is, man. I mean, because, like, look at it, bro. Like the fact that Street Fighter Five was a PlayStation PC exclusive. I was like, bro,
mm,
you mean to tell me people on a particular system had this just be negated from Street Fighter?
just from the outside window paying, like, what y'all got going on over there?
I was like, bro, that is serious.
Yeah, yeah.
And even now that that game is done, it's like, bro, they were literally out of this era for like, because remember that one lasted the entire PS4 era.
Mhm.
I was like,
There was
bro,
no other Street Fighter
I was
anything.
like, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. I mean, I hope due to the inclusion of them, maybe some cross-play elements could get into between the PlayStation ecosystem and the Xbox setup, because that would actually be great.
Mm.
And I feel
My
like these are options that we really need to start exploring right now.
Yeah, I mean I think that's one of the things that I felt like gave hope to that was when we were watching the SNK trailer last week of like it's launching with crossplay, right? Like City of the Wolves is launching with crossplay. I'm like, I think them doing that, I think NetherRealm is trying to figure out the kinks for Mortal Kombat 1 with crossplay. Like I think we're starting to finally get to the era of like, hey, it don't matter what you pick it up on, you can play. But I think it's just to your point about like behind the scenes dealings, it's like since when did Nintendo become the spokesperson for all things Capcom? Like what is happening? Like every time there's a Nintendo Direct, we get a Capcom announcement. It's like, when did this happen? Like,
That means some new exclusives are coming.
for
Yes.
Nintendo, you think?
Yeah, some new exclusives are coming.
Bro, if they drop Tatsunoko vs. Capcom 2 on Switch 2, I'm gonna be hot. I mean, I got a Switch, but I'm gonna be hot.
To be honest, you might be onto something with that.
Oh my goodness.
You might be onto something with that, bro.
Oh
Because to be
man.
honest, like that's the only IP that has just been so dormant for
Chilling.
years. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, like, so we are never gonna see this game ever again.
And apparently it sold well on the Wii. So it wasn't like it was like a flop or anything like that. Like it wasn't one of those things where like it's like a underrated like it sold well.
Nah, bro, those characters are very classic characters. I was like, bro, I have not seen some of these people in years. Like
Yeah.
that was like ultimate nostalgia, bro. Like just like how Marvel versus Capcom is nostalgia for us. I mean, even SNK, that was very nostalgic, bro. I was like, bro, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll never know. They might surprise us, bro. Like again, Capcom. To me, they've got my vote of faith. Now they've won me over. I'm like, hey, it took them a little while to figure out the whole fighting game thing. I hope they figure out their action adventure games next. Like, yeah, Resident Evil's doing fine, but like you said last pod, that Dead Rising rollout, I'm like, this is kind of, I don't know. So like, I hope they kind of like start firing on all cylinders soon.
It was pointless. That's like, so you made us just sit here for this. I was like, bro, you could have just did a
For a
whole
remaster without
reskin trailer and just launched that. I was like, bro, we do not care about this.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's still working out the kinks. I think it's just, I feel like Xbox needed to win, right? After the recent announcements with like their few remaining exclusives going multi-plat, it's like, y'all needed something of joy to look forward to, because like Jory said last podcast, if Gears of War goes multi-plat, call it, it's over. Y'all are done. But
no, that's very true, bro. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah, y'all are no longer in the running. But we do have one last topic for the night, a topic that we weren't able to fully dive into due to some technical issues. But now that it's here, now that it's the dust has settled a little bit and we've had some time to let it really set in, My Hero Academia has come to an end, y'all. At least the manga has. The anime is still airing. There's a movie out in Japanese theaters and it's coming to America in October. But the My Hero Academia manga is officially over. 400 plus chapters over the last 10 years. It's all wrapped up. There's been the obligatory time skip at the last chapter and all that. And Tim, I know you had started to give us your thoughts last time before, technical stuff started teching. But what were your thoughts on how things played out with My Hero?
All for nothing. That's just that is just where I am, bro. All for nothing. All for nothing. The fact that you sacrificed your quirk. I mean, even the whole Shigaraki thing, like, sometimes, bro, these animes really annoy me with this power of good and friendship, bro. And that's why, like, bro, to this day, I still feel like Luffy has the most common sense out of all of them. Nah, bro. Punch. Bam. It's just like, to be honest, to be real, like, I was more interested in Todoroki's family drama. Like I said, the whole I said this many times. I was like, bro, Dobby being his brother was the most logical theory outside of like the fourth Hokage
I'm about to say
being
the most obvious.
Naruto's
Yeah, the
father.
most obvious plot
I
twist
was
is the
like,
fourth
bro,
Hokage.
this is obvious, and I was more invested into that. Like after when Endeavor fought the Nemu and Dobby showed up, I was like, bro, there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
And then even when he revealed himself, I was like, finally.
Yeah.
Like I was just so happy to see that. I was so happy to see that, bro. Like all this, and then of course, more things happen. But then it's like you do all of that just to become a teacher.
Ooh.
A
The
teacher.
story of how we became the greatest heroes, and he's Mr.
Like,
Midori, can I use the bathroom?
and that is just such a lame thing, bro. And it's just like there's just so many interesting characters, and this is where I can and I'll call it the Naruto formula.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because it's very similar, like a bunch of classmates, and as they grow older, the impacts of their world, like ninjas, superheroes. It's just like once they establish this big three, I kind of feel like everything just gets lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now all these characters, like who after their whole tuning exam arc, they just become pointless. I was like, bro.
Yeah. We had started to talk about it last time before you got cut off of like, it was not only that, it's not only that the class was big, it's like you introduced other classes, Like, here's these 12 students, here's another like 10, and then here's the upperclassmen, and you're just like, bro, like, who who matters here? Please, I need to know, who should I be rooting for?
And then you show us a collection of teachers that who are fire as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and then I did like the whole apprenticeship aspect of it, but it's just like I said, bro, it just all amounted to nothing in the end, to nothing.
Yeah, yeah, and we've
Like,
mm,
and when I really look at it, I look at it things at full circle. Like all the movies that we got, all the build up, like bro, like I keep telling people, bro, like when they fought Overhaul, bro, that kind of felt like the Sound Ninja arc, bro. Like
yeah,
everybody just got separated and they just went from one battle to the next. Like, bro, like you can't tell me the fat gum fight was not Choji. Like
yeah.
you cannot tell me this is not Choji.
Plus, when they collapse afterwards, we're like, did they die? Or who is someone gonna make it? Is someone like permanently injured?
I
Yeah,
was like, and of course, in the final battle, you unlock a new form, but then things end in some anticlimactic way. But it's just like, bro, all of this for nothing, bro.
yeah, bruh. Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah. I mean, my issue with it has always just been like the size of the cast. That was always it. Like, I think to your point, it's the Naruto effect of like one of the biggest ongoing issues with Naruto is that unfortunately, for the most part, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura are the least interesting characters in this show that focuses only on them. Right. So you're just like, man, Team Seven is kind of underwhelming, right? Like, what's Rock Lee and Neji doing, right? And it's like they're not doing anything. They're fodder at this point. It was
Well,
the same
one
thing
of
with
them
My
is
Hero.
dead.
And how did he die? How did he die, Tim? How did the man with 360 degrees of vision die?
Protecting the
Protecting a
main
blind
character.
spot, being a meat shield for the main character. Oh my goodness! But yeah, that was my issue with My Hero Academia. Was always just the cast. It was the roster where it's like when things like meaningful things were supposed to happen for the heroes, like when like Miss Midnight died. I'm like, she was an interesting teacher, right? But like, I didn't care. There wasn't enough screen time with her. Like, she wouldn't have impacted me as much as if even present Mike had died, right? Like he had been on screen more often than she had, or their actual teacher had died. Like, it's just, there was just certain things where like the stakes were so all over the place where I couldn't really hone in. And then when you had the villains arc, to your point, I'm like, Dobby wasn't the biggest fan of him, right? I'm like, like you said, when you see that twist coming a mile away, it's like, all right, it doesn't matter of when at this point. But I'm like, but the League of Villains, I'm like, Mr. Compress, I liked him. I liked him. Like, his powers, the fact that he had a mechanical arm after his arm got destroyed by Overhaul, I'm like, I like where this is going. And you find out that he's like a descendant in like a line of like thieves. And like, oh yeah, like what's going to happen? Oh, he got sent to prison. What? That's it? Instead, we're going to focus on Mr. What's it called? The twice dying and the lizard kid and what's her name? The one with the blood quirk where she stabs you and she can take your powers. I'm like, I don't care about her. Like, yeah, but she loves Midori. I'm like, I don't care about her. I don't care about her. And to your point about the movies, it's like, bruh, like Jordan and I have said it multiple times. Not Stain, 9 from the second movie was way more interesting than Shigaraki. Stain, way more interesting. Even when they brought back All for One, way more interesting than whatever Shigaraki had going on. So it's just like you're gearing up for this ultimate villain who has been underwhelming the entire series. He hasn't got more interesting. He hasn't gained like a new outlook that I can come to appreciate. Every other villain you introduced was way more interesting than him. Like the what's it called, the Corporation of Villains, the guy that had like the stress powers. This was way more interesting. Oh, he has a network of underground villains that are like in certain parts of society. This is way more interesting than Shigaraki, or even the mercenary quirk for hire, the one that was trying to snipe Midoriya when he was during his I can do it by myself arc.
Mm-hmm.
The lady, I'm like, oh, they had like paid mercenary Black Ops heroes. This is way more interesting than whatever Shigaraki is doing. it was just a constant like introduction of like really good ideas being used on characters that we never saw again.
But you know what I also think it is, like, especially it's also the human world aspect. I do feel like a lot of these products, the funding is being cut. Even on the
Mm.
outside, we see, the merchandise, the movies, the games. I do kind of feel like, certain investors they just want to wrap it up.
So,
I've realized
mm.
that the longevity of things has changed over time.
No, definitely.
Like we
Things are
don't
getting
get
shorter.
we don't get 14 seasons like we used to anymore.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And then even the stress of the workers, bro, because like I said, page by page by page by page, and then get animated.
Yeah.
All of that stuff has changed, man. Like due to the demand of the world. So I mean, and this particular studio, they was doing a lot, man. They was really doing a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I didn't understand how they would like. They'd be like, "Yeah, we're doing the season, but we're also working on the movie." I'm like, "Why? What are you doing?" Like, yeah, we're doing a full featured hour and a half film of top notch animation while also dropping the season 6, and that's why half these episodes have slideshows. It's like, why don't you just finish the season first? Why don't you do what the studio that's doing Demon Slayer is doing and do it one by one? What are you doing? Why are you putting this stress on yourself?
It's a lot of corporate stuff, bro, that we probably would just never know until somebody leak it, bro. But yeah,
Mm,
it goes back to, man, like, yeah, all for nothing. All for nothing.
sheesh. Well, I don't want to entirely kick its back in. Outside of the Dobby reveal, were there any other moments throughout the history of My Hero Academia that you're like, you know what, I like this. This was cool, or I enjoyed this.
I mean, I I did like Endeavor's redemption story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm a big person on redemption, for personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, he realized like what I did was very cruel. What I
Mm-hmm.
did was very wrong. And, this new position that I'm called now in life has really changed me for the better. But
Mm-hmm.
it also brought the better out of me. And that's what I want to stand for. Um, I definitely enjoyed seeing the variety of quirks across the characters, man.
Mm-hmm.
This person do this person do that. And it's like, bro, this is all very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like even like yes, oh I have a fire quirk, but my fire quirk is different from yours,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like it is because I love it when the character comes up and it has their name and their quirk title, and it's just like bro, that is so interesting to me. I enjoy nerdy stuff like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the villains were very cool. The villains were very cool because I like layers the villains because then when you realize, are they really the villain?
Yeah. Or the byproduct of a fractured world. Like I
Because
think they
I
walked
tell
that
people,
line very well.
because I tell people, bro, like, and it was so funny that during the Ninja War arc that they were paired together was Itachi and Pain. It's like I was like, bro, that was very spot on writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you found out that they really were not the villains that people thought that they were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then you go back for all for nothing. The Ninja World still fumbled. Oh, the Ninja World did not help the Hidden Rain. Naruto lied.
Yeah.
I was like, all for nothing, bro.
The who? The what village?
I was like, bro.
Don't see them at the Hokage summit. Like terrible. Yeah, terrible, bruh. I think for me, for my hero, I really, really, really enjoyed everything leading up to the overhaul arc. Like I loved introducing the Yakuza into the storyline. I thought that was really, really interesting. The idea that they would be selling like black market weapons to counteract quirks and ruin. Like I'm like all this is like very like it makes sense within this world that has been built. Um, I liked the upperclassmen big three. Like I like until they ruined him. Like I really enjoyed Mirio like one shotting the entire class. Of like he would just felt like a modern Rock Lee of like I'm the least talented but the hardest working, and that makes me a problem, like a real problem. Like I enjoyed what they did with his character, even his companions. The girl, she never really did too much, but the other guy, Sun Eater, where it's like, yeah, whatever I eat, I can manifest into like a weapon. I was like, that's kind of that's very interesting. And like he's like, yeah, so I eat like squid and clams so I can harden my body and use a pen. I'm like, that's actually really cool. Like that's actually a really cool concept and super creative. So like I feel like the overall arc, like the Yakuza thing, was really really dope. Even that arc that focused entirely on Shigaraki's crew. Again, Shigaraki wasn't the most interesting person, but I like that the author took an arc just to focus on building up the villains. Because, we've watched anime for a long time. The villain's off screen and comes back with powers you've never seen before, with no explanation of like, oh, now he can summon the dead and they're even stronger than they were when they were alive. And it's like, Kabuto can do that, my man. Kabuto. Okay, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like the fact that he like showed like this is how they like evolved themselves.
Mm.
And that the heroes didn't always win. Right? Like, to speak to your point about Endeavor, I'm like, bro, Endeavor almost lost against Anomu. Like, it was bad. Like it wasn't one of those things where it's just like, like the fights were never like just one-sided beatings.
Yeah,
Just like, bro, they had to really scrap to get a win out. So like I don't think it's unfortunate, because I think over time, like you said, whether it be the animation falling off, the story dropping off, the ending being pretty bad, to be honest. Like, if we're being real, I don't think it's going to be looked at in like the best of lights in years to come. I don't think My Hero is as bad as the internet makes it out to be, but I understand its fall from grace from like, yo, have you seen that latest My Hero anything? Right? Like, it's one of those things where like it kind of falls into that tier. I'm trying to think like what would be like the 2000s equivalent of My Hero, where it's like it's a good anime, good manga, but people don't like love it. Like it's a very like almost like niche fan base.
It's a hard question.
Because I'm like, for us, we got a lot of like really really good ones that have aged well, and all the other ones that kind of fell off, like nobody really cared. Like, I'm like, did anybody like, no, Zatch Bell was an underrated gem? Like, come on, no Zatch Bell. Like,
Cause you could tell how it was falling off, bro. Look at I would say the like Instagram tells it all. The reels, bro. The reels. If you don't see no like mix up of reels with different songs, it's like, yeah, bro, people are not invested into it.
Yeah,
Because
bro.
to this day, I am still seeing the Shanks versus Kid fight
Kid.
on my timeline. It's like, bro, people are just happy.
Yeah.
When Bleach, when they were like when that was happening with the Quincy fights, bro. When I saw like when Shinji releases Bankai, people love that, bro. And then especially the higher captain, when she killed all of them in those different dimensions. It's like, bro, I saw like 10 remixes of that.
Yeah. I saw like about 10 reels of Rukia using her Bankai when that dropped, with every song you could think of.
Yeah, man, and that's a beautiful form of expression, man. And of course, like Demon Slayer, Fall.
Bro, everything in Demon Slayer. Every season there's always something that everyone like remixes. All of that was, bro, I can't wait for those movies. That's gonna be like a visual feast for the eyes, bro. I'm like,
Yeah,
just
so
beauty.
but it just goes to show you, man. When they're given quality, they love it and
Yeah.
they'll express their love.
Yeah.
It's sad. My hero had his ups, it had his downs, but then it's just now. It's just like how Attack on Titan. It just came and gave you lukewarm.
Yeah, bro. Mid.
Yeah.
Straight mid. my last question. With My Hero ending, Demon Slayer having been over for a couple of years now, like we're still just waiting on the anime at this point. There's no spin-off or anything like that. Jujutsu Kaisen coming to an end. The question that comes up every time like some of these big things move and shift: is there room for another runaway hit anime or manga series right now?
I think something will be created. I think something, because I do feel like they're trying to like put something out and usher something in. Because we're I mean, to be honest, I don't even know. After when Bleach is done with this particular arc, are they going to move on into the next one? So
Supposedly.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Mm.
One Piece, you can't put a time limit on that.
You just have to hope to live.
I just know something new is going to come. Something is going to come, and I'm looking forward to that because I would like these writers to really learn from the past.
Mm,
Like, especially if you've been involved with multiple projects, like, really sit with yourself and, like, what do I want to create and how I want this to end? And
mm,
what is the journey that I want to go with this? Because, yes, there's certain things that you might change as a person mentally,
yeah.
but then how does that translate well in this product that you are creating? Like, we are seeing the decline of a lot of things, especially IPs that weren't originally started by certain people. Like I said, bro, I tell people all the time, bro, like Dragon Ball Z, Super, Daima, whatever you want to call it, it's in such a weird limbo, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially after the passing of, Akira Toriyama, it's like this series is in a serious limbo, bro.
Mm-hmm. It almost feels like with some of these things, it's like, bro, like I mean, you talk about it a lot of times when it comes to games. I think it's just true of anything. Like sometimes, like these things just got to be over. Like we went for what a decade with Dragon Ball Z of absolutely no new content. Every new thing was just a remix or a reimagining of the same stuff we had seen before. And if you wanted to play it, you did. And if you didn't, you didn't. But there was nothing really new. Versus now, where it's like we're nostalgia baiting so heavy that we're like these series that are 30, 40. Like, we've been talking about Alien in the group chat. Alien came out 45 years ago, bro. That cast is old. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like at what point you get to be like, you know what? We're done. We've explored everything you could possibly explore within this IP. And I wonder when it comes to like these like anime properties, like what does that look like? Like a lot of times when we ask for more, but the more that we're getting, I hate it. I hate Boruto. Like I hate some of these things. I'm like, if this is what we're gonna do, I don't want to see Two Piece or One Piece. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like just let it be done. Let it be done, please. So I am looking forward to what comes next. I just don't know what concepts would be introduced that we haven't seen before that would work. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I think part of the reason why some of these things become so popular is because it follows a formula, bruh. Like you said, the Naruto blueprint, even on Attack of Titan, Eren, Armin, Mikasa, two guys and a girl. Jujutsu Kaisen, two guys and a girl. Like it's always just been like there's this little template that just seems to work.
But to be honest, bro, you know what I've been starting to invest in now? These
Mm.
Netflix animes. Like, there's this one about golf. I was like, bro, this sounds so intense because you just hear it, in, the Japanese dialect. I'm like, bro, why is this so intense? Why? There's a basketball one, and it's just like, bro, and that's why I kind of say, bro, just like how it is with video games, we gotta explore different narratives, man.
Mm.
Like, I to this day, bro, I want Tekken blood. What's the Bloodlines? I want a
Bloodlines.
season 2, bro.
Mm.
I want to see Tekken 4 anime style because a lot of stuff happened in Tekken 4.
Mm.
I want to see it.
Okay.
I want to see it, and it's like I said, bro. It's just so much room for more. But we'll see it in time.
True. And you never know. You might get a surprise of something that you didn't think you wanted, right? Like I'm like, if some of what I'm hearing is true, right? Daima is supposed to do a little bit more backstory into the origin of how Majin Buu or like that thing kind of came to be since he's always existed. That's supposed to be like deep dived into, and the demon realm that we've always talked about but never explored. Like, okay, maybe, right? Like maybe at some point they'll address the Namekian lore, maybe. But it's kind of like, but at what cost? What did I have to lose to get to this point?
Why did we have to become children for you to explore this?
Tim, the answer is obvious. Call it from now. Remember this pod. They made them children so they could figure out how to make Super Saiyan 4 canon. I said it from here.
Because my thing about it is, I kind of feel like, all right, so did you just make Super become like the Z of this universe, and Daima is the GT of that
Seems like it.
universe?
Seems
Because
like
it's
it.
like, bro, like how you just said, bro. There's too much nostalgia bait, bro. Like, I mean, I like superhero for what it had, but it's like Gamma 1, Gamma 2. I'm like, oh, Android 17, 18.
Mm-hmm. And then a literal cell.
A literal cell. And then, because I said to myself, bro, if he absorbed these two,
Well, yeah, I mean, the plot twist is you got the plot from Bio Broly. You know, that was a plot twist of
yeah.
like.
I was like, bro. Yeah, but but it has some good points. The Red Ribbon Army became a pharmaceutical company. I was like, bro, that is genius.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is literally genius.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Android 21. Well, her human form. It's
Right.
canon now.
Yeah.
Also, you just finally confirmed that 16 was Dr.
based.
Jiro's son.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Cool. If I gotta see Beast go on to get this, I guess I'll take it. You gotta take the good with the
A
bad.
transformation that you are not explaining. But even though fan theories have much better theories than you, like, no, he just summoned his power that was always there. Oh, for the third time.
Right. He got angrier again.
Again.
Okay. From the same trigger again. His friends are in danger again.
Again.
All right, I'll go ahead and wrap this pod up. Tim, thank you once again for holding it down. I think we explore these topics to their fullest. I'm curious to see, especially with Concord, what comes in the coming weeks. It's like I feel like we've been seeing a year of this industry shakeups, and I'm sure it's got live service developers, reevaluating some of their releases. I'm like, oh, this can happen. Like, yes. So please stop. Please stop. And of course, we'll be here to report on it. So once again, thank you guys for watching, tuning in. If you're watching us on YouTube, liking, subscribing, commenting. I am Antonius the Gamer, Mikkel Smith. We are the Press Start Select Podcast. Until next time, peace.
Take care.